Hello and welcome again to Mystical Wisdom. This is the fourth in a series of blogs and videos that I've been offering about archetypes. The videos are quite short, but the blogs have got more depth. So make sure that you always look at the website and read the blogs as well. And also subscribe to my website, and then you'll get the news when there's something else to watch or to read. So in the first of the series, I talked about archetypes in a general sense. Then I started to look at archetypes and how they relate to astrology. Then I did another blog about astrology and archangels. So now this one is about Kabbalah, because Kabbalah includes all of those archetypes, planets, archangels, the lot. And you may be already familiar with the Tree of Life map, and you can understand perhaps from that it might really be a kind of diagram of how the universe works, how the basic archetypes work in the universe. And I do believe that was something that the early Kabbalists were hoping to formulate in some ways. It took a long time for the actual map to develop, but there's certain early Kabbalistic texts which demonstrate that they were on message to attempt to understand the opposites and how there's a time for living and a time for dying. It's an old biblical saying that there's a time for everything, and that they were looking at how the attributes of the divine energy that sustains everything could actually be identified as having different qualities. So one image for that is that the white light of the divine comes through a prism and fragments itself into different colours. And colours are often associated with the different energy centres on the Tree of Life, which are called Sephirot. Also associated with Sephirot are the different planets. And one step along the line, also with archangels. So our Tree of Life map is an incredibly useful spiritual tool, because we can almost use it like a map of the inner world by which we can develop our own understanding of how the archetypes are working within us, because they work in different ways for everybody. We all have our own mini formulas that creating the sense of being that we have in the world. And our sense of being in the everyday self that we present to the world is driven by this interior game, if you like, this interior drama that's going on. And we want to make sure that we become a director in the drama and not just an actor or a puppet. This phrase I often suggest is useful. We don't want to be a puppet. We don't want to be ruled by the planets. We want to understand what's going on with this archetypal forces so that we take charge of our own lives. And the Kabbalah gives us this map, which is very profound, and it's often been associated with the ladder that is appears in the dream of Jacob, who sees a ladder with angels ascending and descending. And if we think of the foot of the Tree of Life as being where we are standing on the earth, with the moon around us, going around us, or us going around something and all twining together, the earth and the moon. If we see ourselves in that arena, but then we look up at the sky and we see these other planets, we can physically see them, and somehow they resonate with something within us, and their activities seem to coincide or correlate with feelings that we have and events that happen to us or events that happen in the wider world. Those correlations have been charted for generations by brilliant minds, and the whole concept of that correlation between our inner world and our human events and what goes on in the cosmos is definitely not something to be dismissed, although of course a lot of skeptics will dismiss it. So to come back to the archangels, every archangel that's related to a sephira on the tree of life will offer you a window. It'll offer you a window of understanding something about yourself, something about how you can develop your inner divine qualities, because that's what they represent. They represent divine qualities, divine possibilities, divine potentials. And we all have those. How can we use them in the world? How can we bring out into the world the best possibilities that are there for us, for our particular drama in the greater drama of human life? So it's a really significant process when you're on a spiritual quest to look at that, to make use of this ancient mystical wisdom, which tells us and shows us how we can actually ascend and expand our awareness of who we are and what we can do in the world. And as we do that, we just grow more confident. We start to know who we are. And by knowing who we are, we understand what we could call our purpose. And sometimes that purpose only emerges as a conscious awareness after some experimentation. For some people that might take years. Hopefully nowadays, with more availability of consciousness raising technologies, which includes astrology, which includes Kabbalah, even though they're very ancient, they haven't been so available to people until recent years, not to everyday people, you could say. So getting to know the inner game and understanding how playing it will bring about special results for you, results that you can measure and experience in your life. And this will make you much more aware of your interactions with other people, how you respond or react to events that occur, whether they are positive events or negative events. And you will start steering your own chariot. I mentioned the tarot card, the Chariot, in an earlier video. You want to be able to steer that chariot. You want to be able to take charge of the two horses. And then those two horses will cooperate with you in order to bring into the world exactly what you are hoping to manifest. And in many ways, that kind of makes you a kind of magician or a sorcerer, because you are learning how to spell out, make spells, spell out from your story the activities that you want to bring into the world. So your story is an idea, and then your actions manifest that story in the world. So go back, go deeply into that tree of life and have a look at it. There's some more information about it in the blog. I also have a book called Working with Archangels that could be really useful to you. You should be able to get that through Amazon or some other good internet bookseller. Look at it and take on board that you've got a task in life to understand what cards you're holding in your hand, and then getting to learn a strategy for making the best use of them. That will lead to a more joyful life. That will lead to a sense of satisfaction, a sense of being at home in the world. Don't ask to go home. I hear some people saying that. This is home. Make the best of it. And all of us have got these magical, divine possibilities for making something beautiful in this world. Be at home in this world. Be joyful. Keep shining. Act in the world with grace. Many blessings.